Hey, what's up, team? This is going to be the recording for our August 12th meeting that was supposed to be scheduled for Tuesday. Um, I appreciate you guys, allowing the flexibility. And I just felt like, based on the updates that we had going on this month and this week, Um, it could have just been like a quick email to give you guys some good updates and then free up a Tuesday morning for the rest of the team. So check the email, make sure you guys review all the updates I send. A lot of good shout outs, a lot of good hot news for, team members that are crushing it right now. And then I also have some important updates about what to look forward to in the next few months and what our team has to look forward to meeting wise, event wise, and then also quick update on how the individual team is doing for Cowboy Christmas. So yeah, just make sure you guys are looking at those updates and you're caught up with what's going on. But this is going to be the recording that I wanted to do for you guys personally, because obviously, by not having the Zoom meeting, I didn't want to miss out on any opportunities to do like a training topic or a teaching topic. So I wanted to make sure I'm still giving you guys the value you deserve. Um, what I wanted to talk about though is some things that are just working well for me right now. And so when I was thinking about what I should share with you guys, I just asked myself, hey, like, what are things I'm mentally thinking about on a daily basis behind the booth? And as I approach one of the busiest seasons of my year, right? Obviously, we just came off our big fair, but I just came off a 3 week out of town base schedule, our travel schedule. And so I did back to back to back bases out of town. So I went from Vegas to Japan to Hawaii. And so a lot of good things happened in those 3 weeks. And keep in mind, I was working solo all 3 of those weeks. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share like some of the insights and the reflection, like the lessons learned, and then just what I feel like is really important to share with you guys to help you go into, one of your busiest seasons as well. And hopefully help you guys maximize your results in the next few months. So, pretty much these are all booth tips to crush your fall. Okay. And this is going to be for traditional shows, service events, pretty much any capacity of meeting with the customer. The number one thing that I wanted to remind everybody that I think separates me from a lot of other reps is I always have this priority of going into each day with goals, focuses, and intentions. And I know it's really easy to like lose sight of that. We kind of only like make the fair and Cowboy Christmas like our big events that we go all in for and that we have like really big focuses for. But I really want to encourage you guys to treat every day in the field um as like an opportunity, right? As a chance to grow, learn, and I guess unlock new levels for yourself. So don't take any days for granted, no matter what type of event you're working. And for me, obviously, the longer I do this, the more I value my time not working in the field, with like passions and hobbies, spending time with family and friends and loved ones. And so anytime I'm in the field, it just makes me want to like work harder and do better and earn better results to like make me feel good about being in the field working, right? So my natural feeling is like, hey, if I'm going to be out of town, and I'm already, spending X amount of time and I'm committed to being behind the booth anyways, like why would I not want to be mentally, physically, and spiritually on my absolute A game? And so I wanted to share this with you guys first because, for me, that's something that I always hold myself accountable to is making sure I go to each day before I get to the booth, like, what are my goals today? Right? Like, what do I want to accomplish? Obviously, what do I want to sell? Like, right, what's my target? Like, what would feel good today behind the booth? Um, what are some of the focuses that I need to have to create those numbers, right? What are some of the intentions that I need to remind myself about to make sure that every single interaction goes the way I want to, right? What do I need to be intentional about with customers? So if you're not doing that, this is a good reminder that every day you go into the field, right? Ask yourself those three things. What are my goals? What are my focuses? What are my intentions? And that'll help you subconsciously um, hold yourself accountable to like the quality of interactions that you have, but also the effort that you're giving to each interaction. And I think that's what's important, right? If we're always staying dedicated to the quality of the work we do, it's hard to have a bad day when you're always like locked in and focused. The second thing I wanted to bring up really only applies if you're working solo, but I know a lot of you guys, um, if you're doing like service events or working shows on your own, it's really hard to like, I guess, stay mentally disciplined when no one's really watching you or no one's there to like hold your hand, no one's there to like listen to you, help you. So like I know in my experience when I'm working a military base by myself, um, there's moments where I catch myself where I'm probably not doing what I should be doing. And so I have to like check myself in the moment, get off my phone or get off my computer, start engaging customers, start saying hi to people again. So like even for me, it's like a daily mental um, game of discipline to like always stay focused so I'm not missing opportunities. And so I want you guys to ask yourself, whether you're doing a traditional show, service events, service calls, whatever it is, what are things that you can do to hold yourself accountable when you're working by yourself and not cut corners, right? Not give less than 100%. So, like, what are some of the things that you catch yourself doing that you want to stop doing? And then how are you going to hold yourself accountable to be at your best at all times? And I think that's really important because, again, if no one's there to, you know, tell you otherwise, it's really hard to mentally check yourself and do what needs to be done. So wanted to throw that out there because for me, that was like one of the things that came up through my reflection over the last 3 weeks working solo. I'm like, hey, you know what helped me achieve my results that I had in the last 3 weeks? And a lot of it came down to like, I really stayed mentally disciplined with holding myself accountable, like doing things the way I know they need to be done and operating as if someone was watching at all times. So that's a good way to look at it. Next thing I wanted to share with you guys is keep prioritizing goal sharing. So I know that was like a big needle mover for our team during the fair this year. Obviously, a lot of people had amazing years at the fair because of it. And I know that I've told you plenty of times that for me, it's been a game changer as well. Um, Now, because I'm doing like military bases right now, my goal sharing is a little different. Okay. But essentially, it's the same goal, it's the same um, tactic, and you're looking for the same outcome. It's utilizing some type of goal sharing script to build urgency in the moment before you do some type of turbo incentive. And so right now, what that kind of sounds like for me at military bases is before I do my turbo incentive, I just say, hey, by the way, guys, like we genuinely appreciate when customers support us here on base. I don't know if you know this, but here's kind of how it works. Cutco actually doesn't pay me to come out here and sell Cutco in Japan. So we're actually independent contractors and we're responsible for all of our own expenses. And that's kind of why that we don't come on base often, right? Is we have to justify the expenses and make sure that we do well enough to keep coming back. But obviously, the better we do and the more we sell, the more often we get invited to be back on base, and the more often we can justify coming back more often. And so that's our goal. We want to come back more. And so because of that, Cutco wants us to do well, and they allow us to do extra like bonuses and incentives to help us out. And so just so you guys know, like if you are willing and open to like getting the set today, I'd be willing to go out of my way and do an extra turbo incentive just as a thank you for doing it while we're here on base. So just curious, like if the deal is good enough and I threw in some extra bonus gifts, is this something that you guys would be open to considering today? Right. So that's kind of how like my goal sharing sounds on base right now, because it's a little bit different than having like the fair goal and the big mission and trying to break a record, right? Um, so there's a lot of different ways to share goals, but for me, it's just an important reminder that you got to do something every single time. Don't skip some type of goal sharing that will help build that urgency in the moment. And with new customers, this still works. Obviously, like just know customers won't necessarily buy just because of your goals. But what I found is past customers and then people that are already buying something, and then you share your goals to upserve, people end up buying more Cutco because of the goal sharing. So, for me, I had like a ridiculous average order in the last 3 weeks on my bases. The one that stands out the most was 2 weeks ago when I was in Japan. It was extremely slow when I only had 13 orders in 5 days, but I ended up selling 32,000 CPO. So average order was over 2,000. And that was only achievable because I think four of my orders were package deals. So like knife sets and cookware, knife sets and flatware. I think one of them was a Cutco kitchen completion package to someone that already had the knives. Then I sold the pans, flatware, and accessories. But all those came from the goal sharing. And honestly, like I don't think I would have closed those big of orders without the goal sharing. So I wanted to remind you guys that going into the next few months of the year, um, it's easier than ever to kind of share like what your mission is for the year and how close you are, but also share with customers like how committed you are to hitting that goal, and then use that goal sharing script that we use at the fair, but just tie it into something a little bit different, right? It doesn't have to be about the fair. Now it could be about like your yearly goal, your yearly mission. For me, when I'm on a military base, I use the rarity of us being on base and kind of describing why. And then obviously I talk about how we just appreciate military families who support us on base, because the better we do, the more often we can come back. So that's kind of like what I feel like works for them is they're like, oh yeah, we want you to come back more. So like, yeah, what's the deal you can do for us? For service events, I kind of do the same thing. I'm like, hey, I don't know if you guys know this, but like Cutco doesn't pay me to sharpen knives. We actually pay out of pocket to rent out this room to service our customers all day long, regardless if you buy or not. Because for us, we're prioritizing the service, whether or not you buy anything. But obviously, Cutco wants us to do well. And so we like genuinely appreciate when customers come here and, support us by buying stuff. And so Cutco allows us to do like extra turbo incentives just to make it worth your while if you did want to pick something up and add to your collection. And the more we do and the better we do at these events, we can actually do them more often, which is what our goal is. And so I will say, if you've ever considered adding to your collection, or if there's something on your wish list or gifting list, the sharpening event is absolutely one of the best places to do it. And so that kind of builds enough urgency for my customers to like look at stuff, right? Or build the wish list. And then at least I get a chance to show some type of deal and hopefully close something. So for service events, works great. For traditional shows, any goal would work, but I think right now tying them into your yearly mission's best. Okay. Um, my next bullet point or tip I wanted to share was don't be afraid to spend more time than normal with customers in front of you. And what I mean by that is, something kind of clicked for me in the last 2 weeks. Um, and it might just be because of how slow it's been on military bases. But I think a lot of times at events, we get too caught up in the pace of things. Especially if it's a busier event, right? In a busier event, we're too, I guess, worried about what's going on around us, especially if you're working with another rep and they're writing up orders and working with a lot of people. We get too caught up on what's going on around us, but we forget to focus on what's in front of us. And I know it's hard to do because I've been in those scenarios where I'm working with somebody, but I feel like a better opportunity's waiting for me. And the one thing I'll share with you guys based on my own experience is the best customer opportunity you have is the person right in front of you. Okay. And I've experienced both sides of this where, the customer didn't buy, and then the next person that was available helped the customer that I could have helped and sold an ultimate set. But I've also experienced it to where I was patient and kept working with the person in front of me, and they ended up, adding flatware or cookware to their ultimate set, doubling the CPO of the order. And I only spent an extra 5 or 10 minutes, but it was more me staying disciplined with working with the person in front of me versus trying to like hurry up and work for the next person. So I've experienced both sides, and I'll tell you right now that it's always more beneficial to work with the person in front of you and just take more time with them. Okay. It'll always be easier to add CPO to an existing customer that you have a credit card for versus finding that next new customer to buy 2 or 3 thousand CPO. And you know, again, with the results I had the last few weeks on base, um, 2 weeks in Japan, 13 orders in 2 days, guys. Like I was really talking to 3 to 4 people max per day. And so for me, I mentally had to like remind myself that every interaction I have could be the last one. And what that allowed me to do was just slow down, build way more rapport with customers than normal. So like I wasn't afraid to like start asking questions about them and their life, right? Like I wasn't afraid to like jump off the topic of selling. And that extra rapport helped me connect with them better. And that led to the bigger orders, right? Because the rapport was better. We were having fun. We were connecting. It wasn't all just like pitching and selling. It was like humans interacting, which is better. So like my average interaction was probably 30 to 45 minutes for those orders, when normally I'm like 10 minutes max closing sets. But because nothing was like urgent, right? I didn't have to like be anywhere, go anywhere, or talk to the next person. I was like, hey, you know what? If this is my last customer, let's make it the best opportunity and sell as much as we can and, I guess capitalize on the opportunity that's there. And I think that's what paid off big time. And then even last week when I was in Hawaii, I had a little bit more interactions. I had 23 orders and I also sold 32K as well. So average order was like around 1,400. But same thing, like I reminded myself that if I spend more time with the person in front of me, I'll have a better shot at closing more CPO than moving on to the next person. And there's one example that really stood out to me where this like really paid off because I could have really like shot myself in the foot in this situation. But in Japan, on one of my bigger sales days that I had, I think I went like 3 hours in the morning with zero interactions. It was like 1:30 at this point, and I had a customer come up, and I was finally doing like a new customer pitch and showing like an ultimate set. And as I was like trying to close the ultimate set, another qualified couple walked up. And I'm like, great. Like, I went 3 hours without talking to anybody, and now I have like two pretty qualified people standing in front of me. And so my natural instinct was to like ask the other couple what I can help them with or if they know about us. Luckily, they already had Cutco. I was like, great, awesome. Like, is there anything you guys were looking to check out while we're here? And they're like, yeah, we actually want to hear about your pans. We just moved here. We need a new cookware set. And so as soon as they said that and I saw like the quality that they were, I immediately almost wanted to give up on this new customer ultimate because like there was a lot of objections and it just wasn't really like going my way. And then I just reminded myself that question I taught you guys during the fair. And that question was, um, how committed am I to closing this customer right now? And when I asked myself that question, and I remembered to myself, like, hey, this could be one of my only interactions of the day. Like, don't like miss out on this opportunity, right? Like, don't take it for granted. I immediately told that customer that asked about the cookware, I was like, hey, can you guys do me like a huge favor? Give me like 10 to 15 minutes, but stick around and I would love to help you guys out right after. But I'm just showing this like customer our Cutco sets and they're new to it. By the way, like, can you tell them why it's worth it? And then I use them as a testimonial. But just by asking them that favor to stick around, they literally 15 minutes away stood and watched for 15 minutes and were so patient. They even had kids that were like running around and I thought the kids were going to make them walk away from me. And so by doing that, I re-engaged with my customer, handled all the objections, found solutions, did my goal sharing, closed the ultimate set, got the credit card, upserved the flatware. So, like I said, it was like an extra 15 minutes, maybe even more from when the other customer came up and I asked him to wait for me. And so I ended up closing, ultimate set with flatware. Then the other customer re-engaged with me and I was like, hey, thank you so much for your patience. Like, I really appreciate that. And then, did my full cookware spiel for them. They never knew we made cookware. They only thought we made knives. Closed them on the complete cookware package, upserved them to the complete Cutco kitchen. Um, so yeah, flatware, cookware, and accessories, like 8K order. And I just remember at the end of that, I was like, I'm so glad that mentally I disciplined myself enough to like stay true to my standards of taking care of the customer in front of you, right? Because I can only imagine that because I was more excited about that cookware walk up, I would have like shooed away the new customer, not closed anything, right? And then maybe, or yeah, maybe closed the cookware, maybe not. Like I never know. I never would have known how that could have played out, other than the way it did play out. But it's just a good lesson for you guys to hear because how many times do we find ourselves in those scenarios where we don't feel good about the person in front of us. Someone qualified walks up and we immediately want to work with them, right? But how much CPO do we miss out on by not staying locked in and 100% committed to closing the customer? So, I mean, for me, that two series of orders made up one third. Yeah, more than one third. Those two orders made up more than one third of my CPO for the week. So that was a big lesson that I learned was remember, take care of the person in front of you. Okay. And then the other thing that stood out to me when I put this down as a bullet point to share with you guys is by spending more time with customers and like mentally committing to that, it allows you to be more free with like sharing programs and pitching programs with customers. And so for me, I just had more fun getting people open to looking at programs. And because I was like, hey, I'm not afraid to spend an hour with these people, right? Because I just know there's not a lot of people coming up to me. Um, it allowed me to just be more free with like having fun talking about flatware, cookware, family program, upgrade program, like whatever it is that we offer that that customer didn't have, my goal is to get an opportunity to share it with them and just help them enjoy that time hearing it, if that makes sense. And so instead of like rushing to get through the programs that they were for sure interested in, I was trying to pitch programs that they had zero interest in just to create value and see if I can get them interested in anything. And again, that extra time, being able to pitch longer and spend more time with customers paid off big time. So I was closing a lot of upgrade programs, flatware and cookware that people had zero intention to look at, all because I was just mentally committed to like spending more time with people. And then the last thing I have for you guys is just a reminder that these next few months are arguably the easiest months of the year to sell gifts. And so if you're not incorporating some type of gifting approach on all of your interactions, you are missing out on a lot of CPO. Okay. And obviously, we have the family program and we have the business gift program that are good reminders to like bring up gifting in general. But I even want you guys to go a little bit deeper and just start like assuming people are going to be buying gifts in addition to stuff for themselves. And so it's one of the easiest upserves right now, honestly. Like almost every single one of my orders that I'm getting, I'm just bringing up gifting ideas and I'm adding on gift sets. I'm adding on block sets. I'm adding on like, I think I added flatware to an order that was a gift. I added a homemaker plus eight to a business gift order. I mean, it's just this time of year, people start thinking about gifts. And so if you can help them get a good deal on gifts ahead of time, you're essentially going to be a solution to their problem later in the year, which is what do I buy people and like where do I start, right? So a lot of people they don't want to worry about the stress and headache of finding quality gifts and also like worrying about how much to spend on people. Once people get the idea of just buying Cutco for family and friends, it doesn't matter how much it costs, they just love the concept. They love the idea that they're going to use it, have it, and love it forever. And so, when you get the credit card, obviously your upserving standards should be flatware, cookware, and accessories for them, but never neglect the possibility that they're open to buying gifts for family and friends for Christmas. So, quick little pitch that I've been doing is, hey, now that we're kind of done taking care of you, I do want to throw it out there that because we're here at the event and because of the deals that we have, people are already knocking out their Christmas gifts. So keep in mind, like if there's people that you consistently buy Christmas gifts for, and you haven't really thought about what to get them this year, I would check out the options that we have. We can do something as simple as a couple knives in a gift box. We have a really popular 5-piece bundle to get people started with like a variety of tools. And obviously, if there's someone that you absolutely love and there's like a big event coming up, like a wedding, anniversary, housewarming gift, or just like you want to love up on them for a big Christmas gift, the block sets are a number one deal. Just curious, if you had to buy Cutco as a gift for anybody, who comes to mind? My favorite question, right? If you had to buy gifts for somebody, who comes to mind? Once they think of a couple people, just say, hey, do you mind if I show you a few of our top options that you might be like open to considering? Show them a couple options, see what they like, and then just tempt them with a good deal to get some Christmas gifts. If someone's brand new, buying like a brand new homemaker, signature, and ultimate set, don't be afraid to ask, hey, by the way, we have a special if you buy two, three, or four sets. Is there anyone else that you'd be open to buying a set for as a gift? Like any family members, any friends, anyone that you want to appreciate. Because again, if you buy multiple sets, we can do a better incentive or a better deal. Don't be afraid to do that, right? You can turn it into a double homemaker, a double ultimate, triple ultimate, just from asking that question. So again, right now, this time of year, you need to start incorporating some type of gifting approach for every single interaction. Okay. So that's what I have for you guys. Didn't want to keep this too long, but I wanted to share some very like helpful insights that have been working really well for me and obviously help you guys crush the rest of your year. So don't forget to check all the email updates and then also the upcoming dates of events and important reminders. Okay. Love you guys all. And then if you guys have any questions about what I talked about, feel free to message me or email me. See you guys.